Feel that you don't have enough money to start investing or are under the preconceived notion that investing is only for the wealthy? Magnus and his expert guests are here to help you. Now, here is your host, Magnus Carter.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's another Tuesday. Can you believe another week has passed by, and we are already into June. So that's kind of like half of the month, almost half of the year is already over. And it just feels like that we are just getting started with this year. I want to take a moment to thank my guest last week, Brian Johnson, Esquire. We had a great discussion about copyrights, trademarks, corporate secrets, protecting your content, your brand, and your company, and intellectual property. If you have any questions about that, P- the show card is out there. Brian's information is at the bottom there. Please feel free to email him if you have any questions or if you're looking to do a trademark or anything. He's actually the lawyer that I've been using throughout my journey here. He does exactly what he says to do, and he's very proficient at what he does, honestly. So that is all about Brian and last week's show. This week's show, I had a couple guests cancel out and a couple reschedule due to scheduling conflicts. Also, they had some conflicts with their personal lives, and couple of things that kept coming up with the rescheduling was it's graduation season. It's end of the year for students. You know, kids and young adults, if you will, are in the mindset. Not only has the weather changed and the days are getting longer and whatnot, it's honestly changing in life. Their lives are starting to change. I've been through this. We've been through, actually, all of us here at one point in time or multiple points in time, is we have changed our levels from we can go back to preschool. Of course, we learn preschooler colors, some numbers, and how to socialize a little bit. We had a graduation from there. Then we went to kindergarten. Kindergarten, we're becoming a little bit more. We're starting to learn more. We're developing, you know, um, and after that, it's like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and sometimes seven and eight, depending on your school district. That's a long time and a very long stretch of time that we develop. And I know a lot of people out there is like, whoa, how does this relate to business? How does this relate to making money? How does this relate to, um, am I going to be ready for when my child gets to that age, or am I getting old? And why is everything starting to change? Times and whatnot is change is a part of all of our lives, whether we like to admit it or we don't like to admit it. It's going to happen regardless of our stance on the subject. And to do this, we have to sit back and actually sit back and think. Times change from when I can guarantee since when I was in grade school to who's graduating now from grade school or going through grade school. A lot more things have been more acceptable. A lot of standards have changed. Our quality of education has changed. The information that we're taught is changed because when I was in school and growing up and whatnot, what kids are learning now in grade school, I really didn't learn until like almost middle high school, or also even going into some college level stuff or even trading, a trade school. So as this is an homage to this type of season, we are all getting crazy. There's emotions flying high, a lot of questions that are unknown, especially about the futures. Futures of nothing's is guaranteed in this life, especially tomorrow. So when they take a moment to on the day they're finished and accomplished what the child or student has accomplished, it's a big milestone. Honestly, from when we first started taking our first steps into our first words and our first sentences, we are graduating little by little, taking no no offense to the word here, but baby steps, if you will. And the baby steps keep growing. And I'm also reminded by a lot of the guests that have been on the show. If you haven't checked them out, every guest on the show brings something different to the table. And there is something for everybody in these shows, whether it's becoming a marketing genius or starting a business or getting your bills paid or figuring out where the money's coming from that is needed to get through the tough times or tough times in general. We're all human. Some of the stories that I've heard and we've heard all, worldwide is people have hardships all over the time. Every hardship is different. It's amazing to hear some of the people that actually changed and how they changed for the better. Some changed for the worst, uh, to actually get to where they're at today. And this, I feel that this show right now is mainly going to be targeted to the parents of high school graduates, or anybody that's graduating in their life, whether it's military school, the military itself, boot camp, college, trade colleges, trade schools in general. It's getting ready for that. It's all about getting into the mindset of what's coming next. Some fear it. For the longest time after high school, I didn't want know what I wanted to do. That's why I took the time off. I went up to New York. I lived life. It was hard. It was very hard. It was a lot of work. I met a lot of mentors along the way, and I met my first mentor at a diner there, and I got interested into seeing how the world started to work. There has to be more to what we're being taught in schools and what we're being taught by our parents and our social circles and our relatives, which is all. Honestly, it is. Depending on your circle of friends or your family and whatnot, there will teach you what they know. And it's hard for us to get out of our shells and actually go to and find and seek information from other people. You know, as we're growing up, we're told not to talk to strangers, uh, which is true because you don't know if they're going to harm you or they're actually their intentions of that person in general. We're taught that to protect ourselves for self preservation. But as we get older, it's more or less we have to rely on talking to strangers. We need to find out whether it's our jobs, whether it's schools or teachers, new classmates. We form bonds with those people, but we always have to protect ourselves, and so we don't get hurt. Some people take it to extremes. Some people get very lax with that. So, and one a couple of things here. We'll take grade school for an example. You know, you've been with those folks 6, 7 years, maybe 8 years out of your life. You finally get used to them. You get into your grooves. You know each other's moves. You know what each of your friends likes or dislikes. Now they throw you into a school that has multiple schools going into one in high schools, middle schools and high schools from the same part of the school district, but from different little regions, if you will. That's very stressful, and you don't know what to expect. You have all your friends that you used to be in the same classes with, or right next door, or you know, and now you're mixing in new things. It's very challenging, and f- learning the life skills that you've learned up to that point is the socialization and figuring out how people can benefit off of your knowledge and how you can benefit off other people's knowledges and experiences is we start learning that. And the way we communicate this through those years, these are very crucial years, is how we're going to 90% of the time is how we're going to react to everything and almost every situation in life past our professional lives and also out in the real world, on this earth. It's very, if you sit back and think about it and honestly take a moment, all of us that have graduated and are professionals in our own rights, and SMEs or self material experts, subject matter experts and whatnot. It's very it's very cumbersome of actually sitting down and thinking of what you've already went through and you can't really fathom a child or someone you're mentoring, or someone else that's coming up or growing up, what they're going through, because it's similar and it's not similar all at the same time. It's really interesting to see how each person reacts to certain areas and how they learn. As I was saying back when we're getting into middle and high school grades here, I had I grew up in one small town, and we had a school, and I stayed with those schools, and some of my best friends, I still talk to quite a few of them. I don't get into certain aspects of me doing this exactly, but some already found out about it, and they're all cool with it, and it's very surprising because they never thought that I would actually amount to what I'm doing right now and actually exceeding boundaries that I have set and I've taken away, and what other people have done as well. Uh, but we had actually five different townships of local schools getting into one high school. That meeting different people. It was it's awkward. It's also it's frightening, honestly. So you know, don't rush the person that just graduated from one thing and rush them into something new. Let we have to take in what we actually have done. Enjoy the day. Enjoy that the summer is here. Enjoy that it's sunny out or it's raining out or it's not snowing at all. That's my personal perspective because I'm not a fan of the snow anymore. Because I don't do any winter events or winter activities anymore for personal preference. Actually, as we're gearing towards the next season, um, or next school year, or what's coming up next, it's amazing to see. The kids are out, they don't know what to do with themselves. They've just been through 8 to 10 months of just a rigorous schedule. It's like, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this. I have homework in this class, I have homework in that class. I need to talk to this person. In school, certain classes and whatnot, depending on what you pick, and some classes are still picked for you. As you grow older, you become more responsible with those choices, what you want, and that's where, with those responsibilities of picking your classes and whatnot, that's actually starting to get you on your path of where you want to go in life. I've seen a couple articles out there that uh, how we choose our classes and our friends and schooling is helps us develop who we're going to be and who we don't want to be. I've taken a lot of like metal shop and wood shop because I was always good with my hands. Not as good as some other people, but not as bad as others. That I never had to get hooked to a sewing machine. I never glued myself or welded myself to a table. I was very fortunate with that because I understood and I had the mindset, the type of mind that does things in order. It's very logical. It goes from step to step to step. My mind does, and it's hard to turn that off sometimes and actually have fun. And that's one thing that I found out in high school was there's a little bit of everything out there in one. You have 3 to 4 years to figure out what you want to do, and that's one thing that I enjoy about the high school experience was I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know I was going to be a network engineer. I didn't realize I was gonna be an author or a writer or a radio show host or into marketing or, even publishing articles all over the world and doing interviews and whatnot. I never thought of anything like that was even possible, let alone doing it and mentoring everybody out there that's listening to this show. It's surreal to sit down and think. It's like, okay, those 3 or 4 years, as I look back, it's like I had fun most of the time through those years, but I really didn't come into myself as until I took the time off from school and decided to go back to college. I did try the trade school as well, yeah, but the trade school wasn't for me. It felt like it just didn't feel right for me. It was a fit if it's a feeling that you get. It's like I'm not really supposed to be here. I don't feel it's up to what I can become if I go elsewhere and try something else. So, and after, graduating high school is all those late nights of studying, the finals, your SATs, your LSAT, not your LSATs, but your PSATs, you know, that and 7, 8 different classes with 7, 8 different teachers with a whole bunch of different and those classes never really didn't have the same person that you had in with the class before. Some did, some didn't. Uh, and you're in gym classes and stuff. We were always mixed with from eighth grade and ninth graders all the way up to seniors. So that was very daunting when you see this big 6 foot guy come up and you're going to play basketball or volleyball with him and say, what am I going to do with this? But you learn to, I've learned to adapt and one of the main things with high school is learning to adapt and start to figure things out. And once I figured that part out, it wasn't so bad. And the peoples that are juniors and seniors and stuff, I actually became really good friends with because they didn't want to deal with it was with a like a ninth or 10th grader, a sophomore or junior or a or a ninth grader. It was actually surreal to be part of those classes, and it was a good mix up for that reason, you know. But this is a season where a lot of things change, a lot of emotions are high, like I said before, and we don't really take that into consideration of wow, you actually got done that. You've put all the course hours in, you've done the testing, you've put the study time in, you made your friends, and even the we didn't even get into curricular activities yet. There's a lot of different clubs, there's other people to do things to figure out what your passions are. But we're gonna actually take take a more look into that because that'll actually bring us into the college years, which I want to go into, and then how all this stuff is going to relate into our professional lives and where we go from there. So honestly, we're already at the first portion of the show. I'm gonna take a quick break. Thank you for tuning in. First and foremost, if you just tuned in, we're actually talking about graduation season, the changing of the student's life from back from it was preschool to kindergarten to uh, grade school, middle school, high school, college, vocational school. We're gonna go through the whole gamut. What I felt and what some of the things out there are actually happening and how to actually prepare them and for the parents out there of what's coming next. But until we're gonna take a quick break, we're, and we're gonna come right back, and I'm gonna continue on.
All clear. Back in about 2 minutes.
All right, thank you much.
No problem. Back in about 30 seconds, sending you the feed. Have a great show.
All right, thank you much.
You're listening to Making More Money for You with Magnus Carter. If you have any questions for Magnus or his guests, join us on the show at 866-472-5789. That's 866-472-5789. Now back to the show. Here's Magnus Carter.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the show. If you're just tuning into the show, welcome to the show. I had a couple cancellations at the last minute due to personal, professional reasons. So that gave me the inspiration to sit back and think today of what kind of show today is going to be all about. Today is all about graduation and graduation season. You're probably wondering why. Well, one, it is June. Schools are starting to let out. High school students are getting ready to take their final exams if they haven't already. Uh, the grade schoolers are finishing up doing exams as well, getting ready for, summer break and getting into high school or middle school life, and I couldn't think of a better way to do this type of show. It's more focused towards the student aspect of it, but I am actually also going to talk about the parent side, parental side, and not that I'm a parent or anything, but I'm a mentor to quite a few people out there, and have been mentoring since I couldn't remember when, when I first started, and I was also a mentee, if you will. I was also being mentored by teachers, by upperclassmen and whatnot, and throughout throughout my whole life. And one thing, I remember the show when we did Military to Millionaire, Eric Smolinski, he had a mentor in high school. He knew what he wanted to do. He did it was very smart for him because he chose to do the military way of life. That's definitely a way of life. I have a couple friends that I graduated with that went to the military. I had family members in the military and whatnot. And I commend them and I thank them for their service. Honestly, I tried to do it myself, tried to get in the military myself. Uh, what they were going to have me actually do as part of my job duties was computer networking and whatnot. And in all honesty, all I wanted to do was go blow stuff up. I wanted to be a bomb technician, EID explosives. I wanted ordnance disposal. I wanted to do all that stuff. And every single branch of the military at that time looked at me like I was on crack or I had like a fourth head coming out of my back shoulders and whatnot. So it really didn't work out for me. Which, in all honesty, looking back now, I was okay with that because I was what I wanted to do was very immature and in a lot of harm's way. Not to say that I don't. It's up to the individual to do what they wish. That was just for me. I was sitting back right here, realizing what I wanted to do and the uh, the severity of something what wrong would have been is I, I I've made the right choice for myself. As to anybody else out there, military is also a phenomenal way to extend your knowledge, and it's a calling, honestly. If you feel like you're willing up to it, check it out. A lot of people I know that have done it loved it. Some people, you get the good and bad with everything. I've had some people that had mediocre and some people that really didn't enjoy it whatsoever, and they counted the days to get out of it. But we're actually going to talk about high school now. High school students will do 9 through 12 out of this. 7 and 8 is like in the middle area, so that could be considered as high school, or some it's considered middle school. To whoever it is, it's the preteen into the B-tweens, if you will. You know, a lot of things have happening. I've mentored quite a few, teens, preteens. What they're going through now is ridiculous compared to what I went through. Um, and it's because of the times of changing. We're trying to there's so much stress now that I've from the people I've talked to and people I've worked and helped with is there's so much stress now being put on early and earlier grades to get into college. I'm not opposed to people going to college, but I'm opposed to the way that it's being taught and the way it's being forced upon people as it's the only choice to do things personally. Personally and professionally from what I've been through and what I'm actually seeing now through these times. There are so many other options out there besides going to college and college being the only answer. I've had college professors on the show. I've had administration on the show from that, and also I had Shelly Howard from College Ready College Plan on the show. And college is not for everybody. Honestly, it's okay if you don't want to go to college, if that's the way you feel about it, but don't take that decision lightly because you need to have a plan. Honestly, and the best way to make a plan for yourself is to talk to somebody about it. Find a mentor. Find whether the mentor is a teacher or another adult, someone that you aspire to be, like a business person, or not celebrities or anything. Stay away from celebrities. I know there's a bunch out there that are willing to help and whatnot, but that type personally, I have tried that myself. It didn't work out too well because um, after seeing their lives, I realized that I didn't want my life to be that way. It's we tend to mimic what we want out of life from someone else's life. It's not out of jealousy, but it's at what we gravitate towards. for instance to that is the people in business will do accounting for instance. The accountancies, he has the skills to be a CPA, tax advisor, all this other stuff, but he wants more out of it. So what he does is, from a little firm, he jumps into corporate America, and as we've seen what happened with Tommy Breland, he got all the way to the top, but once he got to the top, it wasn't fulfilling. I'm not to say that it will, you'll have the um, same journey or the same outcome, but you have to really want know what you want out of life. And our wants and needs change as we grow older. They change from day to day, but the basic needs still happen, are still needed, if you will. Is we all want to be loved. We all want to be heard. We want to learn. We need to find a purpose in life. Uh, whether it's helping directly or indirectly with somebody, it makes us feel that we're accomplished, that we're doing something, and we see results. I recently I have been actually been into immediate results, or immediate gratifications, and once I start getting into that mindset, I know I need to reset because the things that I'm doing now in the publishing world, the radio show and whatnot, it's not immediate. This stuff is going to take time. And I thank you, everybody out there, the listeners, of taking the time out of your day to find interest and find value in the content that I'm creating here on Making More Money for You. It's really surreal, and I do get emails and phone calls and whatnot about it, and even other interviews in general for doing the show. Not to say that, back to becoming a mentor, I feel that I'm giving back more to somebody, and everyone out there, uh, from personal experiences, and giving you the knowledge so you can make your own decisions. Which brought me to a meeting of one of my masterminds over the weekend, and I will share information with anybody and everybody out there that wants to seek the information. It might be the information that I give you that you like or dislike about it, but I will give you the information so you can actually make the choice for yourself. And it came up to one of the shows that I've done just recently, about a month ago, about the way I posted things, and a better way to get people to buy an affiliate program that I sponsor, that I promote. And I sat and I thought about it. I thought about it for a while because I really, as we get older, we can't really spout. I know, as much as we want to spout things out, and you know, um, say something that's really not, well, it could be arrogant, but very hurtful, or very condemning, or uh, judgmental, if you will. One of the things that we need to learn, and we need to teach people, is, especially the younger ones that are coming up, is our words have actions. Our words turn into actions, actions turn into results, results turn into either regret, or they turn into something that we admire about something. There's a lot of people I've heard over the years say that. And two things we can't take back in life are words and bullets. Once they are out, um, you can't put them back in, honestly. And words hurt sometimes more than bullets. I found out sometimes harshly, doing the speaking, or being spoken to or at. You know, that's one thing, as we get older and we graduate into life, is we have to be well known with that. And that's one of the things that, even hearing people talk, is it's not being taught at all. Um, Especially as we talk to parents, or higher ups, or mentors themselves, is we really don't check ourselves when we talk. We're too quick to put media out there and be angry about something instead of actually sitting down. It's like, what's this going to solve if I actually say these words? Taking uh, from one of the presidents, Ronald Reagan, is he would just spit out words, and when he was questioned or interviewed, instead, if you ever watch after he started changing things, he'd always say the word "well," and he would think a couple seconds before he talked. And once he did that, things started sounding professional. It sounded more. It didn't sound like a rant or or a Veruca saying, "Well, I want," or "This is wrong, that's wrong," or anything else. It gives more thought to what you're willing to say and how you're willing to say it, because tone and the words you use go a long way. If anything that you've learned throughout your schooling is when a teacher's mad, they get short, they get loud, and then there's silence. Honestly, uh, that happens throughout life, no matter where at in life you do become. I'm just saying all of this to get back to my point of we need to actually take responsibility for the things we say, because they can be hurtful and they can do damaging things. And also when you're looking at advice, when the advice was given to me on how I should do this or how I should promote something, is I did look into what he was trying to say about how I promoted the show and how I promoted the links that pertain to the show. And I'm like, no, everything is exactly how this show is meant to do, and it fills into the mantra of this show, is where I'm as a host and the steward of the content that's coming out to you guys, and ladies out there, of course, worldwide, is I'm getting the knowledge out to you without the jargon. I like being jargon free. I like giving you the information that you want and need out of anything, specific subject, to make the choices for you. And that's one thing that I found with graduation ties into it, is we have a plan, but rarely does that plan become executed. And we call audibles. We start moving things around a little bit instead of sitting and waiting and trying to decipher what's going on. So back to the way the episode was written up, and I really appreciate that he even looked at the episode, because it's about shredding debt. It is the one a couple weeks ago when I had the gentleman from Shred Your Debt on. Uh, Apparently, the person from my mastermind enjoyed the video aspect of it because you can see us interacting and whatnot, and which is fine. If you have that ability, it's on YouTube. All you have to do is search for Magnus Carter. All the shows that I have recorded are out there on YouTube, or they're on the podcast on all your streaming services, your iTunes, Apple, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Audible, et cetera, Spotify. They're out there as well. To say the that I should actually redo the way I'm promoting the social media link is for the course and whatnot, because of sticker shock and all that. He's throwing all these big fancy words at me, and at the end of it, he's like, "Well, you can buy my service here for X amount of dollars, and I'll do it for you, and we can get this working, and you can add this extra page and blah 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 blah." At that point, I was honestly seeing red, because that is not the intention of that show. It was a show that it actually shows how that gentleman found a specific set of directions and instructions on how to shred your debt, and I've been using it. I will promote it definitely, but I do not want to force it upon anybody out there. The show itself has great descriptions about it. The websites are there to look at, and if you decide to go and if you have more questions, you can reach out to the gentleman that actually wrote that is the creator of it, and he will answer them for you. hands down, if you send an email to him, he will get back to you in no time, and he's very generous with his time and the ability to understand what you're getting into. And that's what my thing was. And as students in life, we don't know what we're getting into after high school, because after high school, we have multiple different directions. And graduating that is actually saying goodbye to a lot of things. But we're going to take a break. I'm going to get into the goodbyes and life after high school as soon as we get back. If you're tuning in, thank you for tuning in. This show is all about graduation season, choices we make, some of the paths we can take to do throughout our journey, our educational journey, and into our professional journey as well. So I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back with another segment. If you have any questions, feel free to call in. Honestly, especially if you have a situation that's going on that your student doesn't want to know, or if you're a parent that has comments, concerns, love to hear them. But until then, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.
All clear. Back in about 2 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're listening to Making More Money for You with Magnus Carter. If you have any questions for Magnus or his guests, join us on the show at 866-472-5789. That's 866-472-5789. Now back to the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Or if you're just tuning into the show, welcome to the show. I am your host, Magnus Carter, and we are on the Making More Money for You show, and we are talking about graduation. Many different things graduation symbolizes to a lot of different people. Some say it's an ending to something. Some believe it's a beginning to something. They're both right. It depends on how you look at things. I just went into the first two segments of the show. The first segment was all about getting prepared from pre-K all the way up to college level stuff. And there's a span in between where we have to actually in between those years, we have to hone skills of getting us ready for the next chapter. I'm still kind of curious about preschool and kindergarten, why there's two graduations there, even though you're not really, you made changes, but you really don't make changes. But that's a topic for another time, and I'll do research on that on myself, and at some other point in time I'll come back and I'll have answers for you. So keep dialing in. So just before the break, I talked about being mentors and what it actually takes to be a mentor is patience. Tons of patience, a lot of understanding, and helping a person that you feel you can help, whether it's just someone to talk to, financial, educational, just life skills in general. Every one of us has life skills. We're all good at a lot of things, and there's a lot of things we're not good at. In high school, we actually had many choices to make on which path we decided to choose after high school, such as shop classes, academics, AP, college prep courses, or just getting by and just going through the minimum and just getting through. And it's like, all right, I'm out of here, and you figure out as you go. Every one of those pathways is okay. A lot of people are not gonna be on board with what I'm saying about that but if that is what you need to do at that time to get through it, then that is exactly what you need to do. I tried trade schools. I tried it, figured out it wasn't for me. I went the academic route. I didn't really do pre-college stuff, but I took academics enough that had the chemistry, the physics, calc, advanced math. I went through that route in the anticipation one day I will go to college. Was I ready to go to college right after high school? Absolutely not, because I honestly didn't know what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And that's a lot of pressure out there, is to figure out that people, guidance counselors, teachers, parents, you know, they're put so much pressure on. It's like, what are you going to do right after high school? Uh, Either you go get a job right away, full time, full benefits, or you go to college. Or if you don't want to do that, you go to military, you go into the military. Those are the only three options that were ever taught to be part of society. I'm here to tell you there's more out there. Honestly, with the computers, the digital age, a lot of people are starting businesses right out of college, right out of high school. People are starting businesses in high school. Any which way you look at it, it's what you want to do with your life. You, Dana Pena said it best: is when he went into business, he put 110% into his business. He didn't care how much money he invested into it. All he knew is that's what he wanted, was his one business. It failed. Okay, so he learned. He learned along the way why it didn't happen. He got a job for a while, and then he kept at it. Life in general after graduation is a celebration, and a celebration of the things you have accomplished, honestly, and the things that are about to come. It's also a goodbye. As much as we hate to say it, and we don't like change and whatnot, but it is a goodbye to a lot of things. That time in our life, where high school, where those last 4 years, you met and bonded with those people. Living with your parents, that's something. Your home life, you're actually seeing that as an adult now, and now it's you got to make the choice. Your parents aren't going to make the choice for you. They will guide you what they feel is what you should do, but ultimately it is your decision to do with what your life, what you want to do with it. So if you decide to go to college, phenomenal. Hands down, you'll learn a lot of great skills in college. You'll make a lot of new friends. You are going to find a lot of weird people in college. Uh, it, it it's a different mindset. It's different. You have to rely on yourself in college. One of the articles that I read before coming on the show today is you're actually paying to go to work. Honestly, you are paying somebody to learn information. So what you do with that information, and you make sure you get the best out of it, is because it's coming out of your paycheck. The government, no matter what the government says or tries to do, should you get loans, you are bound by contractual law to repay your student loans back. It is in the fine print. It doesn't matter if you declare bankruptcy. It does not matter about anything. If you read that fine print of that college loan for the federal government, they will come for the money, no matter how many times they promise to pay your loans back. And I've seen people already lose income tax refunds because they didn't pay it, because they got behind on their bills. Government came in, hey, you owe us this money, and we took it. Hands down, seeing it happen, it does happen. That's something that you're investing. You're not investing in money, but you're investing in yourself. You're investing in your mind. You're investing in a career that you believe you can do. And that investment with a ROI is up to, I think now, with the percent with the percentage of interest rates right now, is about 15 years to repay back those loans. Pending your major and job market at the time. A computer network engineer, they're in much demand, is roughly about 70,000 plus coming out of college. Could be more, could be less, depending on the certifications you get and type of field you go into. That doesn't help when you have $135,000 in student loans, but you can chip away at it, and there's ways to get that stuff paid off in full. If you're looking to go to college or planning on to go into college, everybody, college ready college plan is the way to go. Talk to Shelly Howard about it. If you want more information, there's a show out there, Getting Ready for Going to College Debt Free. It can happen. She has helped multiple people. Something to keep in the back of your mind, and in the back of all of our minds, is what happens after college. Or what happens if I go to a trade school after this? Or what happens after this, after that, after whatever? The thing that happens is life. We've spent 13 to 15 years of our lives in school where everything was structured for us. We had to be there at a certain time. We ate at a certain time. We had a certain amount of time per class. We had homework at the night that was due in certain time periods. We had our weekends off. We came back. We had mini vacations scheduled for us for 8.5 months for 15 years. Now that graduation has come and gone, real life starts, where it is your responsibility as an adult now to start living your life. And that's very scary. So scary that people freak out. They go back into college, they go into debt more because they need that structure, because they cannot cope with waking up every day and figuring out what needs to be done because everything was done for them. That was one of the questions and answers that I had with Eric on Military to Millionaire of readjusting back to civilian life. And that's covered very well in that show. If you have questions about that, that pertains to all parts of life, especially leaving the educational system and going out and being an adult now. Parents need to adjust as well, or mentors need, guardians need to adjust as well to this, due to the fact is for the last 15 or so years, you were taking them to school, you made their lunches, you made sure they had dinner at the end of the thing, you made sure they had their homework done, you checked their homeworks, you made sure that they had whatever they needed for their curricular activities, whether it was a dance, a football game, a sporting event, any sporting event out there. Your life has changed as well too. So it's not just the student aspect of it, it's also the parents. And now the child or student goes to school away. Now it's on both things. That's a huge readjustment. I've seen a lot of things go very well with that, and I've seen a lot of things go very bad with that, personally and from a perspective of being a mentor. You get used to seeing that person, talking to them at a specific time every week or every day, um, talk about life, talk about whatever's on the mind. But now that they're living life, life is getting in the way. Life is starting. Time doesn't slow down, it starts speeding up. The reason it's starting to speed up is because now we're doing everything daily. Um, one of the best things that I've was ever told is the reason why summers lasted so long during our schooling, up to and including high school, is because we didn't have structure during those days. We actually had to find things to do, and finding things to do takes time. It takes planning. It takes um, ambition. It takes initiative. A lot of things that were done through the school year, we had to take on ourselves, or our parents had to take on, and it's a challenge. And once you get into that mindset, it's hard to getting back into the school mindset. Going to bed at a regular time, waking up at a regular time, eating meals at a regular time now. We're conditioned to do this from birth. When I often wondered why we would always get hungry like certain times of the day. It's instilled in us from the hospitals. They fed you certain times of the day. They picked you up at certain times of the day. You had attention at certain times of the day. That's why it all started from when we were born, and it continued on in many different forms throughout our lives. It is very interesting to look back to see what I've gone through and what I've seen my mentees went through and other students, and seeing what kids are going through now and parents and whatnot. It's graduation is a very emotional time all around for everybody, but don't put too much stock into tomorrow or the next month or the next year or the next course. Spend some time today and enjoy what you have today. That is one of the best things that I can actually tell anybody out there that is school that has graduated or is looking to start their next phase of their life. We start phases in our life at all different times. And not one person is the same as the next. Now we need to take that into consideration when we start planning things. Even though we plan things, we can't plan for everything. And life will throw some curveballs out there. It's either we dodge them or we hit them, or we get hit by them. It's not how we got through it, how or why it happened. It's how we get through it, and how and what we do afterwards. So everybody out there, congratulations on achieving your where you've achieved in your life, whether you graduated kindergarten, middle school, high school, college, trade school, or if you went back to school after so long. Congratulations. Enjoy the day. Celebrate it with the people you love, and start planning for that brighter tomorrow. That's the show for today, everybody. If you have questions, you can email me at mcarter@lpspublishing.com. Next week's show is going to be all about coffee. I have a very special guest from the coffee industry, and we're going to find out what makes this drink so delicious and so part of our everyday life. Until then, have a great week. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.